And we are here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode in our series diving deep into the Kybalion and Hermetic philosophy, the most popular occult work of the 20th century, now in a hardbound edition that evokes the original volume with a new introduction by scholar of mysticism, Richard Smalley. Well, for generations, readers have debated the origins and studied the knowledge of this mysterious exploration of Hermetic wisdom, attributed to the three, which finger is it? This one, the three initiates. Now, in its second century, the Kybalion is restored in this beautiful vegan leather hardcover casing with gold stamped, acid free paper, gold foil page edges. They're kind of just selling the quality of the book here, but the information, ladies and gentlemen, is where we find ourselves today on chapter number 5, entitled The Mental Universe. And this goes perfect, bouncing off or continuing from what we have done already in discovering last week the nature of the all, and how under and back of the universe of time, space, and change is ever to be found the substantial reality, the fundamental truth, that which underlies all outward manifestations in the essence. Very interesting that was, and that was very fun, ladies and gentlemen. Before that, a few weeks ago, we did mental transmutation. Mind, as well as all metals and elements, may be transmuted. Now, this is very important to know. Personally, and I'll remind us now the reason we are doing this. We are reading from this for purposes of teaching and commentary and expanding the mind so that through that increased awareness, we can increase the quality of our lives and the lives of those around us. On the contrary, Egyptians were especially skilled in the science of psychology, particularly in the branches that the modern schools ignore, but which nevertheless are being uncovered under the name of psychic science, which is perplexing to the psychologists of today and making them reluctantly admit that there may be something to this mystic or psychic psychology. However, we've learned that the mind and our mental state, our state of mind, may be transmuted and changed as well as metals and elements from state to state, from degree to degree, from condition to condition, from pole to pole, and vibration to vibration. True Hermetic transmutation, alchemy, is a mental art, ladies and gentlemen. And that takes us, previously before that, we went through the 7 Hermetic principles, the number one principle being that of mentalism. So we went through mental transmutation, the all, and now we find ourselves on the mental universe. Chapter number 5, Kybalion. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you spending time here with me and Hermes and the 3 initiates. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. It begins by saying, quote, the all is spirit. But what is spirit? This question cannot be answered for the reason that its definition is practically that of the all, which cannot be explained or defined. Now, that may be a paradox. It may be perplexing. It could be overwhelming to consider and to attempt to understand simple statements such as these. Well, is it really that simple? I don't know. Once again, we're just learning together here, ladies and gentlemen. We are on this journey of discovery, so you probably know a lot more about this than I do. But if that's the case, leave that in the comment below and let us all learn together. Now, let me say that again. The all is spirit, but what is spirit? Well, you cannot answer what is spirit, because its definition is practically that of God. So if you're asking, what is spirit? Well, what is God? And it's like these things, and I've always wondered this, like, what is the soul? What is spirit? And you'll hear different answers for these questions. And some will say they're the same thing, and others will say that they are very different in nature. I mean, we've gotten different descriptions in the Corpus Hermeticum, original manuscript Hermes Trismegistus, 3rd century AD, and also the Hermetica, the lost wisdom of the pharaohs, which is all Hermetic philosophy coming to us from the Egyptian sage god Thoth or Hermes Trismegistus. But what is spirit? Well, it's practically the same definition of the all, which cannot be explained or defined. Spirit is simply a name that men and women, human beings, give to the highest conception of what we talked about last week, infinite living mind. It means, quote unquote, the real essence. It means the real essence, the spirit of something. The purest form of it? No, I like the real essence better. The energy behind the action and operation, the life force, the real essence. It means living mind, as much superior to life and mind, as we learned last week. If you missed the last video, all of these videos like lead up to making sense on what we're doing now, even though you could do them all separately as their own, discoveries. However, some of these terms and and concepts used are explained previously, not only in this book, but in the Hermetica and the Corpus Hermeticum, which I'll have all of these linked in the video description box below. So, the real essence, it means living mind, which is different and superior to that which is life and mind, as we know them. And the latter are superior to mechanical energy and matter. So we have these three levels. I mean, there's more levels, but there's always this kind of hierarchy thing going on with the nature of reality, the nature of the universe. The way that Hermes put it in the Hermeticum is that the nature of the things that are. There can be no spiritual philosophy, religious pursuit, than to seek simply to know the things that are. I mean, it's hard to argue that, really. There's a lot of spiritual pursuits and philosophies and religions and whatever will kind of tell you that, well, there's a lot of stuff that you don't want to know. You don't want to know about all the things that are. You just kind of want to focus over here. And to me, that kind of seems to be, I don't know. I mean, that can be debated many ways because you could say, well, there's certain areas that you don't want to go into. And I don't know. I can't debate that either. But we're not here to debate that. We're here to just let the mind flow and see where we go. So, with that being said, thank you for being here. I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. But we have these three levels. See, I was rambling there, like I always do. But we have this infinite living mind, the real essence, the spirit, the source behind it all, which is much superior to life, which is still grand, and mind, which is still very grand. These things are high aspects in reality, life and mind, but they are obviously superior to that of mechanical energy, the physical material energy that we can create here in reality, as well as matter, the densest form of reality. Spirit transcends our understanding, the book continues. And we use this term, spirit, merely to think of or try to speak of God or the All. For the purposes of thought and understanding, we are justified in thinking of spirit as infinite living mind. In the same time, acknowledging that we cannot fully grasp or understand it. We must either do this or stop thinking of the matter at all. And so this is the quandary that we find ourselves in, if that's the right term. We must either do this, acknowledge that we cannot fully understand this thing, or we must stop thinking of the matter at all, because trying to fully grasp it and fully understand it, as we've discovered in our spiritual journey, that is a fool's errand. That doesn't stop the student, though, from continuing the lesson, the lifelong lesson. Let us now proceed to a consideration of the nature of the universe. This is what we were talking about last week, but we're talking more about the mental universe this time. I never know what to title these videos, seriously. Should I just call it the mental universe? But I mean, most people would be like, the mental universe? What the heck? I ain't gonna watch. What would that video even be about? I don't know. Maybe Hermetic philosophy, Hermes Trismegistus, the knowledge of the mental universe? Maybe that's a good one. Not sure. Let us now proceed to a consideration of the nature of the universe as a whole and in its parts. So take notes if you would like to, because that would probably be appropriate at this time. Continuing now. What is the universe? What is reality? Are they different? We have seen that there can be nothing outside of the all. God, reality, the universe. We have seen that there can be nothing outside of the all. Then is the universe the all? Because I've been giving it that credit for such a long time, but the book says here, no. This cannot be, because the universe seems to be made up of many. Oh. So does that mean the infinite multiverse is contained within the all, and the universe, our reality? It's funny, I was just talking about different realities yesterday. Hello, kitten. The kitten's coming to say hello. She likes to talk about alternate realities, don't you? Huh. But this universe is contained within the all, but there is many. And so then is the universe the all? No, this cannot be, because the universe seems to be made up of many and is constantly changing. And in other ways, it does not measure up to the ideas that we are compelled to accept regarding God or the all, as stated in our last lesson last week. And so, are you a Hermetic philosophist, kitten? A philosopher? It's always fun to have a kitten join the philosophy session. Now, right? That means then if the universe isn't the all, be not the all, then it must be nothing at all, right? It's so funny how the lighting changed entirely with the kitten sitting there. She brought the sun. It's a little overcast today, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, it's beautiful weather or a beautiful day wherever you are, regardless of the weather. I like that better than worrying about how nice the weather is. But, sorry, once again, I like to ramble. I like to ramble. And so, we're going to focus here. This cannot be, because the universe seems to be made up of many universes, multiverses, and is considered constantly changing, and in other ways it does not measure up to the ideas that we are compelled to accept regarding the all, which is ever unchanging. The only thing that doesn't change is change. That was, anyways, last week. And so, if the universe is not the all, then it must be nothing. Such is the inevitable conclusion of the mind at first thought. However, but this will not satisfy the question, for we are sensible of the existence of the universe. I mean, we're here and we can kind of see it. Then, if the universe is neither the all, God, everything, and it isn't nothing at the same time, so what then can it be? Well, isn't it just what we always thought it was? Let us examine this question. Remember, we are discovering the nature of the mental universe today. And so, if the universe exists at all, or seems to exist, it must proceed in some way from the all, some way from God. So it must be a creation of the all. But as something can never come from nothing, from what could the all have created it? From what could the all have created it? It must be a creation of the all, but that something can never come from nothing. So what could the all have? Some philosophers have answered this question by saying that God, or the all, created the universe from itself. Created the universe from itself. That is, from the being and substance of the all. But this will not do, for the all cannot be subtracted nor divided, as we have seen, cannot be separated. And then again, if this be so, would not each particle of the universe be aware of its being part of God, or being God? As we have been taught in other spiritual lessons and philosophies, that is it not said, and is it not written in your law, that I have said that ye are gods? Blaspheme, they said. He blasphemes, saying that we are God. Well, as we have learned in our discovery of the wisdom of the ages, as I like to call it, or the lost wisdom of the previous golden age, or the wisdom of the pharaohs, Hermetic philosophy, many other philosophies, that there is much more. But there is much more. I lose. You're being an excellent distraction, but not too bad of one today. Sometimes she starts walking on the keyboard and pressing buttons, pausing the recording. Huh. She's having fun, though. Now, this will not do, because they all cannot be subtracted from nor divided. And then again, if this be so, would not each particle in the universe be aware of us being the all? The all could not lose its knowledge of itself, nor actually become an atom or blind force, or some lowly living thing, as it describes here in the book. Some men, indeed, realizing that the all is indeed all, that God is indeed everything, and also recognizing that they, the men and women here, have existed and have jumped to the conclusion that we and God are identical. And they have filled the air with shouts of "I am God," to the amusement of the multitude and to the sorrow of the sages. For this is a very easy concept to be misunderstood and taken the wrong way. This is why you have to be this is why it's kind of like the horse, the old parable, like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And then I like to add, if you try to force it to drink, you're probably going to get kicked by the horse. So it's almost better to just, I don't know, what do you do? How much do you really try to help? But even more simply, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And the teacher isn't always like some teacher that we're looking for. It's like something else that we're usually not looking for. We're often looking in this direction, like I'm trying to see it, and it's like right here, out of our view. And when we are ready, the right mental state, remember, this has a lot to do with mental transmutation and polarization and vibrations, switching polarities from positive and negative fields. But when we can switch, activate something, then all of a sudden the things that we've been looking at all this time change before our very eyes, even though it's the same thing. When you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. But for somebody else, it could still be the very exact thing because of the mental state, the mental transmutation. Simply put, your perspective, because of the way that you think about things. Remember, you change your thoughts, you change your life. That was what we used to do, and we still do on this channel, living the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching and Lao Tzu from 2,500 years ago, and now the wisdom of the Egyptian sage god Thoth, the god of wisdom, as well as Hermes, thrice greatest, the Greek of Thoth. Now, Tahat, Tahatme. As I've rambled, like I always do, hopefully you're getting value. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you. But we must remember the principle of correspondence. We are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally in a manner akin to the process whereby we, men, humanity, men and women, create mental images with our minds. And so, as we've learned previously in the Hermetica, that man is a marvel because we have this mind. It's like a small version of the mind of God. And so it allows us to contemplate the nature of God or the all or Atum, grand organized design, great spirit. It cannot be named because it is all names, the all. So the principle of correspondence. This goes back to the misunderstood concept of the idea that we are a part of God as compared to being God. Because as it was saying, it's easy for us, if we contemplate this theory that God could not lose its knowledge of itself, and if it is everything, and it couldn't actually become any separate thing, then that would mean that everything is indeed God, and we are a part of that. And recognizing that we, humanity existed, have jumped to the conclusion that we and God are identical, rather than being a part of it. And then they begin filling the air with the shouts of, I am God, to the amusement of the multitude, saying, oh, look at this crazy person. But unfortunately also to the sorrow and sadness of the sages. This is why I got on that ramble about perspective and changing the way that you look at things, because this one thought, I am God, can be taken many different ways depending on your perspective of it. It could be folly and lead you to your doom, or it could be silly and have no purpose at all and really not make much of a difference, or it could be the most important understanding for you in your entire life and lead to the great happiness, joy, peace, comfort, security, contentment, well-being, all the greatest things that we would hope for and strive for in life. But remember, we should arrive rather than striving more often, because if we practice striving, then that's all we'll know how to do. So practice some being here in the moment and arriving where you are now also, and appreciating that. But what indeed, it's like this, the claim of the corpuscle that I am man. would be modest in comparison to this idea of I am God. But once again, what is the universe? Like, what indeed is the universe? If it be not God or the all, and not yet created by the all, having separated itself into fragments, then what else can it be? Of what else can it be made? This is the great question. This is the great question. I'm like, I don't know. I think there's been a lot of like, these are all the greatest questions in this entire journey so far. We take great pleasure in presenting to the attention of students and investigators the secret doctrines of this world-old Hermetic teaching. There's been so little written upon this subject, notwithstanding the countless references to the teachings in the many works upon occultism, that the many earnest searchers after the arcane truths will doubtless welcome the appearance of this present volume. Still to be debated. I'm enjoying it, though. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? I'm thinking an answer, as the book's about to tell us, to this struggle of this question. If the universe is not God, but also, if it not be, but also not created by God, separating itself into separate fragments, then what else can it be made of? It says, let us examine it carefully. We find here that the principle of correspondence, it says, reference lesson 1, as we did a few videos ago in the series, I think 3 or 4. Whoa. The principle of correspondence. Reference lesson 1. Well, let's go back and reference that, shall we? The principle, remember, the first principle of the 7 Hermetic principles was, of course, the principle of mentalism, which is what we've been focusing on for the last few lessons here. But the second principle, which is almost as important, all important in their own right, however, is the principle of correspondence. As above, so below, and as below, so above. This principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and the phenomena of the various polarities and the planes of being and life of the universe. This old Hermetic axiom ran in the words, as above, so below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one the nature and the means of solving many a dark or a light paradox, and hidden the secrets of nature. There are also planes beyond our knowing, but when we apply this principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. The ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments, tools, by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles in the veil that kept hidden to us from the view of the unknown. So, with that being said, this is another metaphorical way to describe, because what's being talked about here is like, how can we understand that which is not understandable? Well, it was like we have to put it in concepts that we can recognize. What did it say? Right here, infinite living mind. We must either do this or stop thinking of the matter at all, because we have to recognize and acknowledging that we cannot fully understand it, but we still are trying to use this principle of correspondence so that a knowledge of the principle of correspondence enables us to reason intelligently from the known to the unknown, so that, quote unquote, its use has even tore aside the veil of Isis to the extent that a glimpse of the face of the goddess just might be caught. glimpse of the face of the goddess. Now, with that reminder of the principle of correspondence, comes to our aid here the old Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, may be pressed into service at this point. Let us endeavor to get a glimpse of the workings on higher planes by examining those on our own planes. This principle of correspondence must apply to this as well as to other problems. So, let us see. On our own plane of being, how does man create? Well, first, we must create by making something out of outside materials. I would argue that and say that is not correct. How do we create, men and women, humanity? We must first have a thought. And then that thought eventually becomes us doing an action. And then that action, through the intention and the focused thought and desire and will, we can create by making something out of outside materials. But this will not do, for there are no materials outside of God, or the All, with which inside the universe is contained. And there are none of these materials outside of the All with which it may use to create, like we do here. So, the All cannot... Wait. Well, then, secondly, man procreates and reproduces his kind by the process of begetting, which is self-multiplication, accomplished by transferring a portion of our substance to our offspring. But this will not do either, because the All cannot transfer or subtract. God cannot transfer or subtract any portion of itself, nor can it reproduce or multiply itself. In the first place, there would be a taking away, and in the second case, a multiplication or addition to the All, both thoughts being an absurdity based on what we have discovered and learned about the nature of God and reality so far. So, is there no third way in which man creates? Yes. Oh, it was going backwards for me. But now it will say what I would have said first, which I did a minute ago. Is there no other way in which man creates? Well, I mentioned it already. Yes, there is. We create mentally. If you do not learn anything else from any of the videos that I ever do or that you ever watch in your entire life, get this point and remember it forever. That what you think about expands. It's the secret of the universe. We create mentally. So the kind of thoughts that we have will transform into the kind of experience and reality that we have. So, most important, how do we create? Well, we can make things with our hands and we can have offspring. But most importantly, all of that happens from the realm of mind, mentally. And so in doing so, in this form of creation, we use no outside materials, nor do we multiply, subtract, reduce, or separate ourselves. Yet our spirit pervades the mental creation. Following the principle of correspondence, we are justified in considering that God, the All, Atum, creates the universe mentally. So once again, using the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, because we know this is a law of reality. How do we know this? I don't know. The masters of the previous ages and centuries and thousands of years have come to these conclusions, and this seems to be what is agreed upon by the finest minds and times throughout our history. Remember, as we learned about in the history of Hermetics back in the very beginning, and I'd love to continue talking about that more because it's one of my favorite subjects, but this knowledge and this wisdom has gone through the greatest times of our history and the greatest minds. Let's see, I'm referencing the Hermetica here. Shrouded mystery, surviving, is direct descendant of the ancient philosophy of the Egyptians, and I think of those who came before. But I mean, the greatest times in our history, well, that can also be argued, but I'm talking about like when we had a collection of great minds and philosophers and knowledge and wisdom that was discussed and compared side by side. The city of Alexandria, the Hermetic philosophy helped to inspire some of the greatest intellectual achievements of our history. Well, what is our history? As you know, that's a question I'm often willing to ask. However, Alexandria was a great center of learning, surpassing even Athens. But I mean, cultures had grown up more or less independently for such a long time. And when we are given the opportunity and have the ability with reason and civility, when we're not sold propaganda to hate each other all the time, nonstop, and oh, you should, I mean, it's craziness out here, but cultures that had grown up more or less independently were brought together. Greece, Persia, Egypt, India, and more. One vast empire. Whoa, something's clicking in. That has to do with a totally different subject. But like a one people, a global empire, that's a different subject. In ancient people, before our own time, the old world, so to speak, well, into this new universal city, there was never a bigger melting pot than Alexandria. And into this new universal city poured men and women of every race and nation, Greeks and Jews and Egyptians, Babylonians, Phoenicians, and even Buddhists from India, and more, associated together in relative peace. And this, once again, just incredible. Alexandria was rich in the greatest knowledge that we have ever, that we can behold. The greatest knowledge that we can behold. But of course, once this starts happening, the golden age, whether it be a miniature golden age within the great cycle, cycles within cycles, as above, so below, as below, so above, the golden age of Alexandria came to an end with the birth of the intolerant Holy Empire. We all know whose holy empire that was. And then all of this great wisdom, see, this is when I get passionate, became paganism, and they said it was terrible and squashed it and burned all the temples and the books and just these. I don't like, were they even, I don't know. This is, see, I'm about to get upset. This is not what we're doing here. We're studying spiritual philosophy, the wisdom of the ages, ladies and gentlemen. How many more pages in this chapter? Wow. Impressive. We've got a few more pages till the end of this chapter. So maybe we will leave it off at the end of this page here. Because today's, I think I've already done an hour here. It feels, seems like it. But anyways, having fun, ladies and gentlemen. I always love doing this. This is something that I contemplate throughout the entire week to try to get to an understanding of this greater for myself, because this is one of those things that if you get it right away, you're not getting it at all. Remember, in the words of Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth, in the beginning of the Hermetica, it's like, all right, Hermes, how can we ever understand this? Like, seriously, this is too deep. He says these words: pure philosophy is a spiritual striving through a constant contemplation to attain true knowledge of Atum, the one God. What we're talking about today, infinite living mind, the all God. But once again, how do we do it? Well, it's a spiritual strive. It's this work that we have to do through a constant contemplation, a constant meditation, a constant rumination, a constant ponderation, a constant contemplation, a thinking about it to attain true knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. So that's how we do this. So you don't just get it instantly. Sorry. But it's supposed to be fun along the way, I would hope, right? So we have learned now that we create mentally and that the universe is a mental creation of the all. And so doing this mental creation, we use no outside materials, nor do we reproduce or subtract ourselves. And yet the spirit pervades the mental creation. Following the principle, because remember, we started this whole video with the question, the all is spirit, right? But what is spirit? Well, following the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, we are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally in a manner akin to the process whereby we do so with mental images. And here is where the report of reason tallies precisely with the report of the illumined. See, this is what the principle or the law of correspondence is all about. Trying to line up and like get an even tally, as it's putting it there, of reason and logic that also lines up with the mystic or illumined unexplainable, and show by their teachings and writings that this is where the report of reason tallies precisely with the report of the illumined. Such are the teachings of the wise men. Such was the teaching of Hermes Trismegistus, the Egyptian sage god Thoth. The all God can create in no other way except mentally, without either using material, and in parentheses, there is no other material to use, or else reproducing itself, which is also impossible for the all. There is no escape from this conclusion of the reason which, as we have said, agrees with the highest teachings of the ancient masters, the Hermetic masters. In this, it just says the highest teachings of the illumined. Just as you and me and all of us on this journey, the student, may create a universe of our own mentally, so does God, or the all, Atum, create universes in its own mentality. But our universe is the mental creation of a finite mind. Not infinite living mind, but finite life and mind. As above, so below, though, so don't discredit it all the way. The two are similar in kind, but infinitely different in degree. This is one of those understandings of this great timeless wisdom of the ages or philosophy, is that things, much of reality is very similar, it just differs in degree. Because it's a complex study, but it's a very fun one for the mind, because it's like there's a lot of paradoxes. It's like wood exists in many forms, tables and chairs and cabinets and trees, and but it is all one. It's all wood, right? It just varies by degree. Now, when you think about that for everything, it's like, whoa, everything is almost one thing, just varying by different degrees. But that's a different subject. Just as we create a universe of our own mentally, so does God create universes in its own infinite living mind, its own mentality. But our universe is the mental creation of a finite mind, whereas that of the all is a creation of an infinite. The two are similar in kind, but infinitely different in degree. We shall examine more closely next time into the process of creation and manifestation as we proceed. But this is the point to fix in your minds at this stage. So, what did we learn from this whole lesson today? Asking the questions about what is the nature of the universe? What is God? What is the Spirit? And if the universe is mental and held within the mind of the all, well, this is the point to fix in our minds at this stage of our journey into Hermetic philosophy. The universe and all it contains is a mental creation of God, of Atum, the one God of the all. Verily, indeed, all is mind. Verily, indeed, all is mind, ladies and gentlemen. The all creates in its infinite mind countless universes which exist for aeons of time. And yet to the all, the creation, development, and decline and death of a million universes is as the time of the twinkling of an eye. The infinite mind of the all is the womb of the infinite time and universes. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. That is a boom to part 1 of the mental universe, chapter 5, in the Kybalion, Hermetic philosophy. That one is a lot to ponder on. That one is a lot to ponder on, ladies and gentlemen. We are about halfway through this book here, almost caught up to where my personal bookmark is. That brings us to the old joke. What is matter? No mind. What is mind? Never matter. I did that backwards, though. I think it was almost funnier that way. Never mind. What is mind? No matter. What is matter? Never mind. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, what is the all? The all is infinite living mind in which the universe finds its manifestation within the mind of the all. We'll leave it there, because that, ladies and gentlemen, was complex. But remember, a pure philosophy is a spiritual striving through a constant contemplation to attain true knowledge of Atum, the one God. And remember, Hermes, to write this book both for oh my son, write this first book both for humanity's sake and for piety, reverence, and honor towards the all, Atum, God. For there can be no religion, spiritual pursuit, and philosophy more true or just than to know and to seek to know the things that are, and then to acknowledge thanks for all things, and to that which hath made them, which thing we shall not cease, hopefully, continually doing. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, remember, seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Through greater awareness and understanding of the nature of reality and the things that are. So through this increased awareness, we can hopefully increase the quality of our lives and the lives of those around us. Remember, our lives are made up of moments. And if we can stack up quality good moments, we can have a good quality of life over time. With that being said, remember that there is no way to happiness because happiness is the way. What do I mean? It is the ability that we must create through work and practice, this kind of work, or positive thinking, spiritual philosophy, whatever. We must create the ability within ourselves to bring to life. And if we can bring happiness to life and we have it within ourselves, then all the things outside of us that we've been telling ourselves, oh, when I get this house or have that much money, or if I get this, I just need that promotion, or when we can create it within ourselves, all of those things become irrelevant because then we already are there. And then hopefully the entire journey of wherever we want to go is wonderful. It's wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to expand the description below the video. Down here, there's a little info box. You go below and click more. It expands it. You might have to click more. And you'll find a link to each of these books on Amazon. It is an Amazon affiliate link. I think I earn a few cents off of each book. I think I've made like $3 in the entire lifetime of my trying to do that, but I think it's really cool because for many years they like let you try to get approved for it by you have to get a certain number of confirmed sales or whatever based off your link. And it took me like 4 or 5 years of nope, nope, try again, try again. And I was fine with it because I always just wanted the links there for you to use. And it kind of feels cool. It's like, oh yeah, I'm doing something. But so yeah, finally I'm approved and it's working now, but it's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. The links are there for you so you can have a resource to get the physical copies of these books to get for yourself so you can put it on your shelf and follow along in future episodes of this series and on this channel and of the many playlists we have done in the past and will do in the future. Just for a reminder, we did an entire playlist of both the Corpus Hermeticum and the Hermetica, now halfway through the Kybalion and Hermetic philosophy. All right. Oh, yeah. Also, a link to my Etsy shop and my landscape paintings and C60 Purple Power, as it used to be. I think now they just call it C60 Power, but it's still purple. The most powerful antioxidant known to man, Nobel Prize winning. Give yourself the gift of health. I've been taking it for 4 or 5 years now, and no news is good news, ladies and gentlemen, but all right. I'll leave it there. A lot of rambling today, but hopefully it was great for me. Hopefully it was for you. And remember to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. Remember to be the change that you want to see and be the example that you want to set. Appreciate you. No, 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 no.